Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. Thank you for all the views, the likes, the comments. Please, if you're new to my channel, do well to subscribe. So in today's tutorial, we shall be learning how to make a pleated back vent for a skirt. And for this class, I'm going to be using this doll face fabric for our tutorial. You can use any fabric of your choice. I also have a skirt pattern here with me, which I've drafted already. I'll also be showing us how you can do this directly on your fabric. So I have on my pattern, I have my waist to hip, my waist to knee, and then the full length of my skirt. So the actual length I want for this particular skirt is going to be 29 inches, but I have less than that on my pattern. So while transferring our pattern to fabric, I am going to add it up to complete it 29 inches. I also have my zipper allowance added on this pattern also, and then the side seam allowance is also included, added by the side of this pattern as well. So my waist to knee is 25 inches, but I'll be subtracting 6 inches from the measurement, which I'll be left with 19 inches. Now where you want your back vent to start, normally if you're making a skirt that will have slit at the back, of course your opening, the slit is not going to start exactly at your knee for easy movement. But because this is going to be pleats at the back, so there will be no room for adjustment when the dress is ready and there is difficulty in movement. That was why I subtracted 6 inches from 25 inches, and that is where my pleat is going to start. So to be on a safer side, I would advise you subtract 6 inches, 7 inches from your knee measurement, and that is where your pleat is going to start. So here I have my fabric folded into two, and because this is a skirt that will be having a pleat at the back, the center back is going to be on fold. The center back is going to be on fold. So from that center back, I am going to mark 10 inches inward. Can you see? So these 10 inches I'm marking inward is where our pleats are going to be. So for those who would be drafting directly on their fabric, you are going to do this first. Mark 10 inches away. Please note the center back must be on fold. When you've marked these 10 inches, connect the lines. From that line, that is where all your measurement is going to start. You are not doing anything. You are not taking any measurement on the 10 inches part. Please take note of that. So your measurement will start from the line. You will now impute your zipper allowance. You start marking your hip, your knee, and then your waist circumference. I hope this explanation is clear enough. But once you have your pattern ready, all you have to do is make sure that the knee line, which is where the pleats are going to start, aligns with the 10 inches line. Please ignore the zipper allowance that is extending into the line. We do not need that part. The only part we need to ensure aligns with that 10 inches line is the knee, which is where our pleats are going to start. So can you see, I've aligned it, and that is exactly where my pleats will be starting. So if I measure it, I have 10 inches there exactly. So now I have pinned it. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark this across. So the way my pattern is now is how yours will be, even if you are drafting directly on your fabric. Do we understand? Please feel free to ask questions. So I'm going to first complete the full length of my skirt to 29 inches, and then I'm going to square the knee line across, mark the full length across. Then the side seam, I am also going to extend it downward. Then the next thing we are going to do is to cut out. Emphasis on the center back being on fold because we are making pleats. Please do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also click on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. So the next thing we are going to do is to cut out. So please watch the way I'm cutting out. The center back must be on fold. So after cutting out, I'm going to show us the next thing to do. After cutting out, this is what we have. Can you see? So this is the center back where our zipper is going to be, and here is the 10 inches we added for our pleats. So I have gone ahead and cut out my lining. Here I'm using a contrasting lining so you get to see what I'm doing, just for better understanding. While you are making yours, please make use of a matching lining. So the next thing we are going to do is to sew on 1/2 inch. Please, the right side of your fabric should face the right side of your lining. So I'm going to sew the hem as well. Then you can also close the side seam also, depending on the type of finishing you want to use. After sewing on 1/2 inch all round, you are going to leave the waist open. So from that open waist is where you are going to turn it out from. But for me, I'm just going to sew on the zipper allowance through to where we will have our pleats, and then to the next zipper allowance I'll also sew on the hem, and then I'll come back and show us what next to do. After sewing it, this is what I have. Can you see? I only sewed on the hem and the zipper allowance side and the parts that will be pleating. So this is what the front of the fashion fabric looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do is to notch. So we are going to notch that angle, just so it lays very flat by the time we flip it over and iron. So I'm just going to notch it. Please, while notching, be careful so you don't rip your thread apart. So I'm going to turn it out, following through the side seam. I'll bring it out. I'm going to take it to my ironing table, give it a good press. I'll come back and show us what it looks like and what next to do. Here is it after ironing. Can you see? Blue is actually beautiful. So this is what the inside looks like as well. I also run a stitch on the waist and then the side seam, just to hold the lining and the fashion fabric together. So the next thing I'm doing here is to mark 1 inch. So for me, I left 1 inch zipper allowance, so I'm just going to mark it all the way to the hem. Mark yours according to the zipper allowance that you left. So after marking it all the way to the knee, so remember we have 10 inches extra added plus 1 inch zipper allowance. That will be a total of 11 inches. So from the center back, I'm going to measure 11 inches. So this is to help me get a perfect straight line. So I'm going to mark 11 inches all the way to the hem, and I'm going to connect in a straight line. So now this zipper allowance that we've marked like so, we are going to go to our sewing machine and sew it all the way to the hem. You are sewing all the way to the hem. So after sewing, this is what I have, and this is what the back looks like. Can you see? I've not fixed my zipper yet. So the next thing we are going to do, we'll measure what we have from the center back to the zipper allowance. So for me, I have 11 inches. So can you see? So we are going to share this 11 inches according to the number of pleats that we want. So 11 is an odd number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share mine 2.25 inch. I'm going to measure 2.25 first, and then I'm going to measure another 2.25 inch. I'll measure another 2.25 inch, and then I'm going to measure what I have left. After measuring what I have left, I am going to divide it into 2. So here I have 4 inches. I'll divide it into 2, and then I'm going to mark that line all the way to the hem. So you're going to take it all the way to the hem. So after marking it all the way to the hem, you are going to take it to your sewing machine and sew on that line you've marked a loose stitch. So you're going to sew all the way to the hem. Then I'm going to do it and come back and show us what to do next. After sewing, this is what I have. Can you see? So this is what it looks like. So the next thing we are going to do is to form our pleats. So to form our pleats, you can actually press open your zipper allowance, which we've already sewn. Press it open. But here I am just going to open up the zipper allowance. So I'll just open it up like so, and then we'll start to form our pleat. So pick the first one. We would be sharing it into 2 equal halves. So the seam allowance on the zipper side must align with the seam allowance on the pleat side. I don't know if this explanation is understandable, but just watch what I'm doing carefully. So we are going to form pleats on both sides of the skirt. Can you see? So by the time you share into 2 equal halves, there's going to be a pleat on one side and there's going to be another on the other side. So I'm just going to pin it down. But please, while you are creating your pleat, iron while doing this. So but because this is a tutorial, I'm just going to form the pleats first before ironing. But while ironing, of course, I will remove the pins and iron each pleat one by one. So we are forming the second pleat now. So we are sharing it to 2 equal halves, and by the time we share into 2 equal halves, the seam is going to be at the center, while our pleats are going to be on both sides. So can you see? So I'm just going to form all the pleats so you see what it looks like. Then I'll go ahead and iron it, and then I'll come back and show us what it looks like. So please, if you have watched to this extent and you haven't subscribed, please do well to subscribe, like, comment and share. Don't forget to also click your notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. This is how you form your pleats for the back. So after forming these pleats, use your steam iron to press it very well. Use your steam iron to give it a good press. After ironing, this is what I have. Can you see? This is what it looks like. The pleats are already there. So I also top stitched on the upper part of our pleats. So due to my domestic sewing machine couldn't sew on top due to bulkiness, I had to come down a little bit. But if your footer can sew on top of it at the edge, please sew at the edge of it. And this is what the front side looks like. This is so fine. It's looking beautiful already. So the next thing we are going to do is to loosen our threads. Yeah, we do not need it. So by the time we are done loosening these threads, our pleats will be staring at us gorgeously. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up the seam. You can use your seam ripper for this. Use your seam ripper instead of using a blade like I am doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up every seam, and then I'll come back and show us the final look. So before now, you ought to have the front ready also. So this is it. This is the back. Can you see how nice it's looking? So and this is the front of our skirt. Can you see those pleats? It's looking so beautiful. So you're going to shape the front with the back, add your zipper, attach this to a dress or as a skirt, and this is beautifully ready. So please do well to subscribe, and thank you for stopping by on my channel. I do not take it for granted. See you in my next one. Bye.